1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Are we on? Well, hello again and welcome back to my channel. Now, during my enforced light duties, I think I'll call it. And by the way, thank you so much for your kind words and goodwill and stuff via social media. Things are finally starting to get a bit better, and hopefully that's reflected in my voice, the way I'm speaking to you, that I'm not gasping for air at the end of every comma and full stop. Whew, yeah, still getting tired and stuff very quickly. And if I go out of the light duty stuff, I still get short of breath, but it is slowly, thankfully, starting to get better. So during my downtime, I was thinking about maybe some content that I could put out there that's not a making sort of thing, but might be of some use, benefit, interest to some folk watching. Hence today's video, which is going to be about how I record my content and the equipment I use and some of the upgrades I've actually made. And next week's video is going to be a workshop tour, which I haven't done yet, and I need to get it tidied in here before I do that. Anyway, before we start this, yes, a very shameless self-promotion. Some merch has now arrived, and I am sporting one of the samples now, which I hope you might like. Available in a range of colours, by the way, if you're not just fancying the gold or the bright yellow. And all links to that, kind of t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, hoodies, kind of range of stuff. Links to all of that stuff is in the description, and all my social media stuff as well. So yeah, I thought it'd be interesting if some people might like to see how what equipment and stuff I use for producing videos. Simply going to be breaking it down into 3 categories, which is going to be visual, audio and lighting. So let's deal with number 1 first, and let's look at the camera and the visual. Okay, let's deal with the visual side of things first. Now, before I start with this, just to make it all clear, this is not a sponsored video by anyone, but if Apple and RØDE are listening out there, I'm your man. So I've paid for all of this with my own money. But if you are interested in any of the equipment that I'm showing you here, there are affiliated links in the description. So if you choose to purchase something through one of those links, then a small commission, a few pennies, will go to the channel. Now, this bizarre world of content creation in terms of this one person on his own in his workshop talking to himself, what is it I'm actually looking at? Well, this is what I can see when I am putting my video content together for you folk out there. Now, all of the filming I do is on my Apple iPhone. I don't have any of the fancy cameras or anything like that. This seems to work fine for me. I think most smartphones these days film in 4K. The resolution I have it on, I think it's 24 FPS. I don't know if that's the right one, but it seems to work fine. So yeah, if you're looking to get into starting out doing some video and stuff, don't go out splashing thousands on a camera when probably all the camera you need is in your back pocket. Yeah. All right. So it's mounted on a tripod, which I think is called First Horizon. Now, this was very kindly given to me as a gift from a very good friend of mine. It's very sturdy. I think this was quite an expensive one. If you're looking for a tripod, look for something that's nice and sturdy. I do like this handle on the front, because if you need to pan around to anything while you're filming, for example, I pan around here and you can see that's my old phone filming us at the moment. It's even more surreal. And this little tripod stand here, I've got a link in the description for that. I think about 20 quid or something. It's really good because you can just kind of wrap around anything. You can wrap it around your tripod or your laser stand, or anything like that if you need to get some close-ups or you need to film from another angle. Yeah, so the tripod is great for setting up for those talking head sort of things like now, or sticking in the corner of your workshop while you've got a long process on the go that you speed up and stick in the old Benny Hill mode during the edit. But it does have its limitations in a certain sense, because if you want to kind of do some kind of panoramic movement around your finished product, say for example my new workbench, then you might find yourself having to freehand it. Now, I have just purchased something as an upgrade for that, because when will it be? Next month it will be 4 years ago where my left-handedness became enforced upon myself, and I'm quite shaky when I do those kind of things, and it looks very amateur. And it's one of those things as well where you try to make your hands steadier and you end up making it shakier because you're trying to think too much about it. So I have recently gone for an upgrade for 2 reasons, and I'm just going to show you now, which is the DJI OM4 SE gimbal. Now, I've just spent weeks researching these things and I didn't even know what a gimbal was a couple of weeks ago. So I have bought this for two reasons. Now, this one, just to let you know, like these gimbal things, they can go into some serious money. You can spend hundreds and hundreds of pounds, but this is more of a budget end of it. I think it was about £85, and it has some excellent reviews online, and there's some brilliant YouTube content about these if you're thinking of purchasing one. And I've bought it for two reasons, and I'm going to show you why now. Yeah, so the first and probably main reason for purchasing this is to create that kind of panoramic shot which you might use at the end of a video. Now, I'm going to use my recently completed fantastic new workbench as an example. So I'm going to take the camera out of the tripod and kind of pan along freehand, and then I'm going to put it into the gimbal and then show you how that works using that. So let's do that first and then we'll come back to here. And the second reason for me purchasing this is as a solo content creator, so I make everything and film everything myself. I'm bound really by the tripod in the one fixed position unless I've got multiple cameras dotted around the workshop. However, with this, with the OM4 SE, it has a follow you feature. I think it currently scans like your face or something, and it will track you anywhere around. So while I've got lots of space here in the workshop, it means that I can carry on talking with a wireless mic, which I'll come to later, and it will follow me around to the designated position that I go to. Now, I can see lots of potential for this. I've only been messing around with it for a few days once I figured out how to get it all installed and get the app on. But I think this will be really clever for future video content, and say for solo creators themselves. I can totally see the appeal of these kind of machines. Well, hopefully you're still with me and the gimbal didn't give you any motion sickness. So let's move on to the topic of audio. Again, where I've recently upgraded some of my equipment. Now, when I started out in the garage and I eventually plucked up the courage to step in front of the camera, yeah, I just used the camera's microphone and it was okay, and it works fine in this kind of talking head situation. But I was conscious of the fact it wasn't as good as what I would have liked it to have been. And I've been watching a lot of YouTube whilst I've been off. And John, the guy at Lincoln Street Woodwork, he made a really good point in one of his videos saying, people will excuse poor video, but they won't excuse poor audio. That will switch people off. I thought, you know, that's interesting hearing that recently. So I upgraded the audio side of things, the microphone side of things, to one of these. A RØDE, I think it's the VideoMic Pro compact, which is mounted on top of the little stand that I have for my camera, for my phone, and that was a big leap in audio quality. It was excellent and really is good in these kind of things, the talking head side of stuff. But it is a directional mic, so it kind of fell flat when you moved away from it. So when you were kind of planning your video or you were in the middle of doing something and you needed to explain it, you almost had to put things down to then go to the camera, to face the camera and go, this is how I intend to do this. And it breaks up the video, can make the video a bit longer sometimes when you don't necessarily want it to be. So although it's very good in terms of its quality, it's limited in how you can actually use it. Which brings me on to my most recent purchase, which are these little bad boys here, which it is the RØDE Wireless Go 2. Now, I bought this one, which is 2 transmitters and 1 receiver. The Wireless Go, I think it's just 1 transmitter and 1 receiver, but this is kind of an upgraded version. It was on offer on Amazon. There was about £70 off. I think the whole setup was 220 quid, I think it was. But I did actually opt as well for the optional lavalier, the lapel mic, which you can see here. For 2 reasons really. I'm not exactly too comfortable with having this all the way up here, because in my book that's quite a way to drop if it falls off. But also I just like the idea of having, this would be really good on my apron, which I wear a lot when I'm, you know, obviously doing making and working and stuff. So I've gone with this, and again, I've been trialing it for just messing around with it for the last 4 or 5 days, and the audio quality again seems to be a big leap, and there is that huge not difference, but a huge terms of actually having that freedom to walk anywhere around the shop and the audio quality not changing. Also, if I put some of the machines on, I think I'm actually in the position where I can talk over that and you'll still be able to hear my voice clearly without the need for me to having to do voiceovers or anything along those lines. Apparently it's good for up to about 200 meters, so maybe that's the next workshop build, I don't know. But yeah, initial impressions, very good. If you want a more detailed breakdown of this, the Rode Wireless Go, then go to Frank's little workshop. He's got a great couple of videos on that, and that's what basically swayed me towards buying those. Also got some great feedback from Keith from Rag and Bone Brown and from Carl Pope as well, who are also using these along with I think Peter Millard, 10-Minute Workshop. He's also got one of these as well. So yeah, very happy with that. Audio side of things, I think, has been a big improvement, and also having that freedom of movement, not being wired up to anything or not being constricted by having to be close towards it, I think will help me massively in creating content moving forward. And finally, let's look at the topic of lighting. Now, if I actually go to my side camera, you can see I have one of these kind of lighting rings behind my camera phone when I'm filming. Now, there is actually a clip in there to insert your phone in the middle of it, but I don't do that. I mount it higher coming down because I'm a glasses wearer, and you end up with that kind of thing on the go as well. Also, if you've got windows behind you, you can't have it facing directly because it just reflects the light straight back at you. Now, this is from a company called Neewer. Okay, comes with a lovely bag as well, and again there's a link in the description to this. Now, there's a few things I like about it, and there's one thing I certainly don't like about it. The good things, as in the quality of light is really good. You can adjust it in terms of the glow and the actual power of it. Just to give you an idea of, does it make a difference when you're filming or not? If I was to knock this off now, you know, maybe that's a good thing to darken down my ugly mug. And then if I pop it back on, yeah, it does make a difference in terms of filming. If you're doing any kind of like nice photography work as well for some fancy Instagram picture, or for customers, you know, for clients, then using this lighting ring, it does really kind of bring some of the things to life a little bit. So yeah, the light itself is very good, comes with the remote control. If you can buy it as just the light, do that. Don't bother with the tripod, it's rubbish. It feels like it's on the verge of falling over all the time. So you can get much better tripods, I'm sure, for, you know, a lot cheaper than what came as this one. So try and just see if you can get all the light. Even if you don't go for that one, I believe you can get them in the likes of Lidl and stuff now, because, you know, there's content creators everywhere in every household these days. And yeah, it is good, and it does make a difference, because the lighting in here, you know, is good. But once you actually come to these kind of situations, these close-ups, then you do, well, you know, if you're wanting to go for kind of that slightly more, I'm not going to say professional, but that slightly better quality output, if you like, then yeah, that kind of lighting ring sort of thing does come in handy. Well, a complete departure for the channel and for myself as well, producing a video about the equipment I use for filming YouTube videos. I appreciate it's not for everybody, folks, but hopefully there might be 1 or 2 people out there who are interested in some of the equipment I use. And if you do have any questions, then obviously please get in touch via the comments section down below, or any of the social media links. I think I'm going to leave it there for this one. Yeah, I think you can see probably the upgrades that I've made recently are going to make a difference, hopefully long term, in terms of creating more of a polished, I don't want to say the word professional, but yeah, maybe a more professional style of video, which would be great long term, I think, for the channel moving forward. As ever, everyone, take care and look after yourselves, and I'll see you soon. I've got to get tidying now for my shop tour next week.